Over the past couple months, I've been under the most self-imposed tactical stress of my life. The only thing I can compare my current workflow to is when I had to study 12 hours a day on Adderall in college for my economics final exams. Except this time, this self-imposed stress was completely voluntary. So I launched my first digital product, the Peak Performance Primer, which you can find in the link below. And it was a free video masterclass on performance, productivity, and focus to over 600 creators now. And the entire process required navigating completely uncharted territory for myself. So I had to figure out how to make slides, where to make slides. I had to write scripts for my videos. I had to figure out how to record the videos. I had to figure out how to publish the course on a new software. I had to figure out how to market the course. I had to figure out the back end so it could be integrated with my website. I had to send 500 almost manual DMs because the auto DM functionality broke. So this step forward required massive action and a big step into the unknown. And I was able to get so much done in such a short time by leveraging stress to my advantage, which is the topic of this video. So to back up a little bit, on November 6th, I set a public deadline to release the course on November 13th, so a week from the announcement date. And at that time, I had no slides built, I had no videos recorded, and I had no idea how to use the software that I was going to host the course on. But I forced myself into massive action by publicly announcing the release, previewing the course, and creating hype around it. I had probably over 100 people message me or comment saying they couldn't wait to go through the curriculum. So because of this outside deadline, I had no choice but to get it done. So for months and throughout the entirety of my creator journey, I've always tried to limit myself to a 4-hour workday, and oftentimes it's been closer to 1 or 2 hours depending on the season. But this past couple weeks, I've been working like 10 plus hours a day, staying up until 1 a.m., sometimes 3 a.m. on the computer, and spending the weekends locked in my room building. And let me tell you, there's nothing like it in a positive way. Building something meaningful that impacts people's lives is the most addictive drug in the world. You don't even need Adderall to get it done, like I did when I had to force myself to study for economics in college. Instead, your internal desire and intrinsic motivation to make a positive impact on others provides you with all the energy, focus, and motivation you could ever need. When you're building a big project with a public deadline, your motivation and drive shoot through the roof, as the stress and pressure are the catalysts for your massive action. So, some feedback I received for the course, if you're interested in taking it, it's completely free. All you have to do is sign up with your email address and I'll send it to you for free. A couple messages from people where one said, you're not just selling a course and it's free, so I'm not selling it, but you're launching a revolution in personal development. Somebody else said, I just logged in. Did you send me a fucking $1,000 product for free? This is insane, Jack. So you can gain access to the free curriculum in the link below in the description. And the positive reception from probably 50 to 100 creators saying that I could have charged $500 to $1,000 for this made all those early mornings, late nights, and weekends spent in my room very worth it. And so now I'm entering yet another season of self-imposed tactical stress. So this past Friday, Black Friday, November 24th, I launched my first cohort, the Creator Performance Cohort. And if you're interested in joining this cohort, there's 23 members inside, and the price will go up each week until the end of the year, December 31st. So if you're interested in joining the cohort, learning how to build a personal brand, learning how to build a business around your interest, and building a digital resume that will have you not needing to work a formal job for the rest of your life, you can check that link below in the description. So throughout this period of self-imposed stress, because I'm taking on bigger projects, there's a story I keep coming back to that's helping me navigate this period with more equanimity. So the story is the samurai warrior. So the amateur warrior is very nervous, he's timid, he's scared. Emotions and fear rule him. He acts reactively in battle and crumbles under the pressure. But the master samurai is different. The master samurai is never rushed. In a life or death battle, he who is the most calm, the coolest, and the most collected will always prevail and win. The master samurai trusts himself, trusts his training, and trusts the universe completely. And so he can navigate any situation from a place of calm and equanimity. And that is why he's a master. The best way to operate in life is from a place of calmness. We waste so much mental energy being anxious and stressed when we would be much more effective acting from a place of inner collectedness. So throughout the rest of this video, we'll explore why unmanaged stress can ruin our lives and how we can actually leverage stress to our advantage to take massive action. So here's the issue. Our biology has not adapted to the modern world. From an evolutionary perspective, stress actually has a beneficial function. So up until about a few thousand years ago, our survival was always at stake. Neighboring tribes were a threat. Wild animals could wipe out an entire village, and disease was completely uncontrolled. And as a result of these harsh living conditions, evolution armed us with a few mechanisms to aid in our survival. Stress and anxiety. So stress forced us to act. If we weren't stressed, we wouldn't respond when a neighboring tribe or a pack of lions invaded our village. In this context, stress was very beneficial because it enhanced our survival. Anxiety was also a positive function. It also forced action. The looming possibility of starving from a lack of food or being overtaken by another tribe forced us to hunt, migrate, and arm ourselves with weapons against threats. In this way, anxiety was beneficial as well for our evolution. It ensured our survival. But in the past few thousand years, civilization has made things exponentially easier. For an ever-increasing majority of the human species, we no longer have to fear for our physical survival. We have an abundance of food to eat. We have houses to live in. We have air conditioning and heating to not be too hot or too cold. And we don't have any lions or invading tribes who are threatening our physical survival. But despite this technological and wealth creation progress, our brains have not evolved at the same rate of technology. We still have the same stress, anxiety, and fight or flight responses wired deep into our psyches, and this causes a whole host of problems for the human animal. So most people live in a state of constant fear and stress. Fear of failure, stress about deadlines, worries about being successful. If we fail in a business venture, turn in a project late, or set a public deadline and don't follow through, we are not going to physically die. But our idea of who we are to ourselves, our self-identity, and our idea of who we are to others might die in the process. So even though our physical survival is no longer at stake, our mental survival is what's at stake. And this is what causes the anxiety and stress that plagues the entirety of the human species. All poor decision-making and both physical and mental disease stem from stress. So how can we navigate stress from a place of calm? How can we be more like the samurai warrior and less like the amateur warrior? How can we leverage the positive benefits of stress while minimizing the negative? So throughout the rest of this video, we'll talk about a few ways to enhance the positive benefits of stress. So the first one is reframing your definition of risk, stress, and failure. So I want you to bring to mind your worst case scenario. Maybe your business fails. Maybe you lose your job. Maybe you don't graduate from college. But even in this worst case scenario, the downsides are not as bad as you think. If you're listening to this podcast or watching this video, I'm willing to bet that you have family, friends, and a last resort scenario that would ensure that your physical survival isn't at stake. I also want to encourage you to take a look at your past. You've always figured it out one way or the other, or else you would not be in the position that you're watching or listening to this video. Knowing this, we can begin to reframe risk, stress, and potential failure as a forcing function to move quicker and go further, faster than we would have if we never felt that stress response. So, in the modern world, taking consistently calculated risks is actually an asymmetric bet. You can create a software, build a business, or launch a product that can scale infinitely. We live in an era of infinite leverage. One computer engineer, for example, Satoshi Nakamoto, can create Bitcoin and create billions of dollars of value with one program. Satoshi had to take a risk by stepping into the unknown and creating Bitcoin, but his downside from a physical survival perspective was extremely minimal, if not non-existent. So technology, the internet, and modern society allow for calculated risk-taking with infinite upside. The upside is unlimited. The downside is actually not that bad once you put your ego and your pride aside. The greatest risk in the modern world is never taking a risk at all, never reaching your potential, and wondering what could have been had you decided to go all in. Next, the power of how you perceive stress. Whether you perceive stress as a positive or negative will determine how you handle it. This is the power of the mind. A powerful study from Stanford psychologist Alia Crum details how one's perception around stress actually shapes their response to it. So, a quick summary of the study follows. So, test subjects were split into two groups. The first group watched videos that portrayed stress as harmful, causing illness, and making mistakes at work. The second group watched videos that portrayed stress as actually performance enhancing, improving immunity, and enhancing creativity. The test subjects who were told those negative effects of stress suffered the consequences of stress, but the subjects who were told the positive effects of stress experienced the positive benefits of stress. So, in simple terms, those who saw stress as something that made them stronger, more creative, and more resilient experienced those exact side effects. But those who saw stress as debilitating experienced decreased performance and less adaptive actions. So, point blank, how you perceive stress matters. If you see it as an opportunity to get stronger and better, that's exactly what you'll experience. But if you see it as negative, you'll experience those negative consequences. So if you can reframe stress to a positive, learn to navigate it from a place of calm, you can become unstoppable. The next piece is self-imposed tactical stress. So stress is the greatest vice in the world. Once you master your mind, you can begin to use stress to your advantage, similar to how I was able to take massive action over the past month or so with my launch. Some ways you can incorporate this tactical stress into your life are setting a public deadline. Now you have no choice but to finish the project. Or you could sell a project before you actually build it. Now that people have bought it and are counting on you to deliver, you have no choice but to get it done. Some other ways are you can move to a place you can't quite yet afford. Now that your actual survival is at stake, your survival instinct will kick in and you have no choice but to figure it out. A couple other ways are you can only buy clothes that are slightly smaller than your current size. Now if you want to look good in your clothes, you have no choice but to lose the weight. And the last piece is you can invest in coaching or a program. Now that you have money on the line and accountability, you have no choice but to do the work. So if you can take calculated risks and leverage the superpower of tactical stress, you'll make more progress in a week than most people make in a year. The next piece is trusting your systems. James Clear has the famous quote. He says, "You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." When you have the proper systems in place, you can fall back on them during times of stress and pressure and stay on course. So I like to think about systems are like the bumpers in a bowling alley. When you begin to slide off track towards the gutter, your systems will bounce you back to the middle and keep you on course. So navigating high pressure situations without adequate systems is like bowling for the first time with no bumpers. You need systems to keep you on track. The next piece is trusting your training. So here we can take the example of an elite athlete. The best athletes are calm and collected during high pressure moments. They trust their training, they trust their instincts, and they play without overthinking. The athlete who overthinks the significance of the moment often caves under the pressure. But look at somebody like Michael Jordan. The moment was never too big for him. He was never worried about hitting the game-winning shot because he was so immersed in the present moment and trusted his instincts and trusted his training. One of his most famous quotes of all time is, "Why would I think about missing a shot I haven't taken yet?" So the thing that separated Michael Jordan from all the other players was his unwavering ability to live in the present moment. He didn't worry about the shot he hadn't yet taken. He was the Zen master equivalent of the NBA. The next piece here is self-examination. So if you can learn to manage stress and sit in it and navigate it from a place of calm, you become unstoppable. And you learn to do this through intentional self-examination. Most of your problems can be solved through self-examination in the form of long walks, yoga, meditation, brain dump journaling, and even intentional psychedelic use for personal growth. These tools allow you to look within, examine the root cause of the stress or the anxiety, and navigate it from a place of inner calm and peace. All conflicts are self-conflict. All external problems are internal problems manifesting in reality. So look within, examine your life, realize your worst case scenario is not as bad as you think. And to cap this one off, there's a quote from Socrates where he says, "The unexamined life is not worth living," which I think about very often. The last piece here is the practicality of philosophy. So this is where most entrepreneurs and creators stop short. So they're so caught up in the day-to-day grind, they're putting out fires left and right, that they never get a chance to actually step back, zoom out, and see the bigger picture. Nature works in cycles. There are periods of destruction followed by periods of peace. The sun rises in the morning and sets in the evening. A storm brews and then calm follows. A period of drought happens and then a period of rainfall ensues. The universe began with a big bang and will collapse and disintegrate into the nothingness it came from. So you are the same. You will have seasons in your life of pressure, stress, and uncertainty, but you will also have seasons of calm, peace, and tranquility. The key to recognizing and navigating these seasons from a place of inner wholeness is realizing that you are not separate from nature. You are actually a part of it. There's a great quote from Alan Watts where he says, "We do not come into this world. We come out of it, as leaves from a tree. As the ocean waves, the universe peoples. Every individual is an expression of the whole realm of nature, a unique action of the total universe." So, to cap this off, you are an integral part of the universe. The external is no different than the internal. There's only oneness. And you may have heard the saying, "Trust the universe." But trusting the universe is trusting yourself. You are the universe experiencing itself. You are capable of anything you set your mind to. You are a part of the infinite, the divine, the collective consciousness. So trust the universe, trust yourself. There's no better way to navigate stress than by realizing your true nature. So with that is all for this video. I've noticed over the past couple months, being able to navigate stress from a place of calm is one of the best superpowers you can ever gain, because you can go further, faster than anybody else who's not willing to sit in that stress. So with that, thank you for watching. If you're interested in joining the cohort, the price will increase each week up until December 31st or until we reach 30 students. Right now we have 23 students in the cohort and 4 people in the VIP one-on-one. The cohort will likely be capped at 30 students. The one-on-one will likely be capped at 6 or 7 clients. So if you're interested in working with me one-on-one to increase your performance, build a personal brand, escape the 9-to-5, escape college, and build a digital resume that ensures you will never have to work a formal job another day in your life, click the link in the description below, read the landing page. If you're interested and you have questions, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at JackMoses0. And with that, if you could like, comment, subscribe, give it 5 stars if you're on Spotify. I appreciate you listening. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Thank you.